Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last day. It's hard to believe we're already here. Just make sure this is set. Yep, we're good. Yeah, welcome. And as is our custom so far, I would love to know where you're tuning in from in case we have any new people today. What corner of the world are you streaming live from right now? Still in Amsterdam. Nice. Still in Evanston. Still in Toronto. Well, I'm glad no one's really traveling now. It's got Martin in Amsterdam, Chris in Evanston, Peter Telford in Toronto, near my old stomping ground, Buffalo, Washington, D.C., Cortland, Ohio, Portland, Vancouver, College Station. Well, the power still holds. Fingers crossed that the power will still hold out for you there. I've been reading about the crazy weather in Texas. Nuremberg, I was there a few years ago. New Jersey, Cali, Washington, still in Winston-Salem. Good. San Diego, Portland, snowy St. Louis, Tampa, Florida, still in Atlanta, Georgia. Good. Northern California, Gouda, Netherlands, Bern, Münster, Westphalia. It's my best German pronunciation. Münster. Chi-Town Boonies. Denver suburb, DC, NYC, Black Earth, Wisconsin, Porto, Portugal. Hey, Joao. Appleton, Maine, DC, Stockholm, Yorkshire, Ithaca, Zeemanland. Welcome, Stefan, to Zeemanland. Burlington, Vermont. My family used to live there. It's beautiful. Italy, right on. You got Canada, Orange County, Braunschweig. Very cool. I live close to Braunschweig-Gasse here in Austria. Sweden, The Hague, or The Hague. Can never pronounce it right. Belgium, Italy, Australia. Good morning. Washington, Brookline, Chicago area, New Jersey. Well, again, welcome everybody. As you keep on, strolling in the room, keep on letting us know where you're from if you haven't said so yet. As I said, I am live streaming from Vienna, Austria, by way of Buffalo and Rochester, New York. It is a balmy 10 degrees Celsius here, which is exactly 50 Fahrenheit. I'm getting good at the conversions. And I'm happy to be here again with everybody. Been super fun 3 days, a really great interview series last week. So thank you for making it to the end. What I'm curious about is between yesterday and today, did anyone have any, again, major breakthroughs or just things that they're really excited to share? Or maybe something that was still kind of a roadblock for you? Anything is welcome. I'd love to hear about it. And I'll just moderate the chat function here. 4 a.m., the solo tune dominating your thoughts. Well, if I'm going to be honest, I also woke up at about 4:30 a.m. and I had the solo stuck in my head too. I'm not kidding. Willard managed to sing the solo entirely. Yes, transposing is easier. Steve, the teacher opens the door. It's up to us to pass through. Gareth, welcome. Hello from Northern Ireland. Right on. Mark played less on his solos on a Jam Kazam session. Martin, have to work on connecting my ear to my fingers. So again, that's for everyone, that's a lifelong investment. That's something we're always working towards. So I hope if nothing else, you feel inspired and you realize that you have the power to be able to do this. Been whistling the tune all morning. Argentina, welcome from Argentina. No roadblocks, but still a lot of work. No roadblocks. Well, I can read, but a lot of work still to be done. Adrian did solfege this morning with Do Re Mi from The Sound of Music. Yes, Sound of Music also, by the way, was filmed like 2 hours away from here. So this is the land of Do Re Mi. Chris said the charts seem kind of foreign having done the ear approach beforehand. That's awesome. Playing in key centers easier than chord by chord, absolutely. Solo was in your head all day, loved it. I love it. Map the technique to play in tune with what I'm hearing in my head. Yeah. Steve realized how many solos could start the way you did. Yeah, nothing like a B flat major triad to kick off a nice melodic solo. Mary Jo worked halfway through the solo singing and onto the bass. Yes. Erica, need more work on ears. Hey, Erica, by the way, nice to see you here. Especially with call and repeat. Yeah, well, we're going to do some more call and repeat today. Starting to feel better connecting, better connection between ear and fingers. All right. Been listening to Whims of Chambers, have transcribed 4 measures. Yes, congratulations. I love that all of you are already putting this into practice and already trying things out. You know, again, there's a difference between listening at music and just sort of having it wash over you and really trying to hone in on what's happening, all of those specific details. It's a different kind of listening, and it is more exhausting, more labor intensive, but it does get easier. And those are the types of skills with which you play when you're on the bandstand, whether you're accompanying people or whether you're playing solos, right? We want to listen inside the music. We want to have a 360-degree understanding of what's going on. It's very, very possible. Again, anyone who can speak a language, anyone who understands language can learn music in a similar way. So if this is day 1 of the journey for you, then, or day 3 at this point, then welcome. And if you've been doing this for a while and this is giving you the reassurance that you're in the right direction, then that's also fantastic. But again, everybody can do this, and the comments here are great. I love this positivity. Steve, can we download your solo or do you have to use the web? So I believe I made it available for download. There's a Google Drive link on one of those buttons, I think on day 1. So you can actually download it. That's at least my intention. So excellent. Well, I encourage you all to keep on reading the comments. Again, very inspiring, and you see, you know, you're not the only, or rather, I'll say this: when you're working on something like with ear training, something that's a new skill, you realize that you're not the only person working on it. So going through the comments is a really great way to build up a sense of camaraderie and community, and to really build more courage as you're going through this process. So definitely keep up with the comments because they're very inspiring, and it's just, you know, good motivation. So what I'd love to do is just a super brief recap of everything we've covered so far. So if you've been on the journey since last week, then really thank you for making it, or sticking by through the entire experience. I know it's been a lot. It's been a lot of stuff we covered. We had great interview guests. We had great conversation in the Facebook groups. Really, the whole focus has been how we can really step into our ears and use that as the really primary tool for creating melodic solos, right? Because I know that I've always struggled with knowing a lot about theory, but trying to figure out how to place it into a context that was actually usable and musical. I think that's something that a lot of us, and maybe I'm casting an assumption, but I think it's something that a lot of us might be able to relate to is, oh, I know that I can play the Dorian scale over so what, but how do I make it sound good and musical? And how do I know when to use it? And why does it sound good? And what if I don't want to use that? What else can I do? And those types of questions that are guided by, again, theory, you won't, or those questions rather will come out of being guided by theory, and it doesn't necessarily give you all the answers. However, if you dive into things by ear and you're really working on those skills, then theory just further reinforces the concept. It's like using a dictionary to help you increase your vocabulary just a little bit, or to help you define or understand something which you may not know yet, versus using a dictionary to teach you how to speak a language. One can supplement what you can already hear and identify, And the other one just becomes a big barrier because it doesn't actually tell you how to use those things or the context or when it's appropriate. I mean, so we dove into that. You're all very, very aware. I know we've talked about this in the Facebook group, but that's been, one of the beautiful foci of the last 10 days. And in the workshop on Monday, we talked about why it's important for bass players to be competent bass soloists. And it's not about being flashy. It's not about playing and displaying all of our chops, because we're always being musical, especially when we're accompanying. But it was to try and bridge the gap between what we do when we're accompanying and what good solos, what qualities good solos have. And to show us that being a great soloist is just a natural extension, again, of everything we do. It's embedded in the fabric of being an improvising musician. It relates to what it means to be human. And it gives us more of an ear inside the music so we can be better accompanists and we can step up and play without fear when we're called upon. So you're all, like I said, you're all aware of those things. I know we have dove deep into those ideas. So again, I just want to thank you for being on this journey with me, being vulnerable, willing to try these ideas and really step into everything. Especially learning the tune by ear without the aid of notation, or learning the solo by ear, placing it on the bass, doing lots of call and response and being willing to improvise kind of on the spot. All of those skills are really going to aid you as you continue to develop your solo ideas. So what we're going to do today is we're going to review the solo and we're going to do a bit more interactive playing, and I'll give you an opportunity to play another solo again at the end. What I would love for you to do now is grab your bass, and similar to what we did on Monday, I would love for you to grab your phone or your recording device, whatever had that first solo that you recorded on it, and get that ready to go. And by ready to go, I mean ready to record, again, in the same way that you did on Monday. So I'll give you about 60 seconds to grab your bass and grab your phone or your recording device and get those things ready. I'm going to sip my homemade cappuccino. It's not a single origin espresso, I'm sorry. It's a blend from a really great roaster here. I am a total espresso nerd. And that's not just a means of hiding my caffeine addiction, it's one of my hobbies. So the latte art has since been destroyed in the drinking process, but I promise you I can make a killer, at least I can make one killer design in there. So take about another 30 seconds. To get your bass and your recording device ready to go. Also make sure you're in tune. Again, I've got one of these D'Addario clip-on tuners, which works for me. I'm tuned to 440, though everyone in Austria tunes to like 443. Some people tune to 446. I don't know why. So, I will double check this. All right. All positive signs from the tuner. So we're going to dive into our warm-up again. Just a few minutes, and like I said, have your phone ready to go. You're not going to need it right now, but when I call you to bring it up, I want it to be ready. So follow the leader. little surprise. Surprise. Now, here we go. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. So what we're going to do now is revisit the solo that we first learned on Monday. So I'll play it for us once, then we'll sing it once, and then I will give you an opportunity to play it on the bass. And there will be a pause between each of those things I just mentioned. So here's the recording. We're just going to listen. Again, don't feel like you have to play. If you want to sing along with some of it, that's fine. But here we go. now we're going to sing it. I'm going to take a quick drink of coffee because nothing helps soothe the voice like coffee, right? That was a joke, by the way. My singer friends would be appalled. So we're going to sing it. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to finger along on the bass while you're playing, but don't necessarily play it. I want you to sing what you're hearing and then strengthen the connection to your fingers. It acts as a reinforcement. So even though the bass is not producing the sound, you are, and your fingers are still connecting to the instrument the same way. So again, I'm going to have to jump octaves in order to make this possible, and it may be a little bit different for you. So you can figure out what octave is most comfortable for you. You have full license to sing in whatever range you need to. So this is Do, or this is our one. Bum, 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 bum. So we do nice and easy. 1, 2, 2. Bum, bum, ba, 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 dum. Ba, ba, dee, 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 da, ba, dum. Bayum, 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 da, da, dum, bump. Boom, bay, ba, do, do, bing, dun, 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 boo, dum, they, da, 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 do, do. Bay, ba, ba, bum, 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 bum. Bay, ba, da, da, boo, da, da, boo, da, da. Bay, ba, da, boo, do, boo, dee, dum. Bay, da, 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 dum. Be da 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 no be da bo de 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 ba ba bo be be de da boom do beep bo do da 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 dee da da bo do be do do be beep bo dum. Okay, take a deep breath. Now I'm going to play the recording, and you're going to play along with the solo. Get your bass ready, and here we go. Okay, so how was that for you? After 3 days of really living with the solo, listening by ear, or listening, learning it by ear, singing, and looking at the notation last. How was it? How'd you do? 95%. And I want us to be kind, right? Learning is not punishment. So if it didn't go as well as we had hoped, we want to make sure that we're being objective in what we're actually measuring instead of, oh, it didn't go well. Like, what about it went well? Let's look at this positively. Went well, still have some gaps, better, a lot better than yesterday, almost there, getting better all the time. Better. I Love this. 97% right. Yeah. Swinging. So what this tells me, everybody, is that you already know what part of it was not as strong for you. And that's great. So as you continue to work on these things, now you have tools to be able to help you fill in the gaps, right? So slowing something down is not cheating. It's not the wrong way to learn. But if we can really do as much as possible by ear and then use those tools to help fill in the gaps, then you're going to be doing a lot more to help your ear out. So really, like, I commend all of you for diving deep into this process and really going for it. And a lot of you said you're not relying on the transcription. So that's great. I love the positivity here. Now, still keep your bases out. And we're going to do some just call and repeat. I want you to play back what I play. And I would encourage you to really do it by listening and not necessarily by just watching my fingers. I'm not going to tell you anything about the key I'm in. Nothing. Just see what comes up for you. So what I'll do is I'll put the changes up for Autumn Leaves, and we're just going to trade ideas back and forth. So I'll start actually by walking 4 bars, and then I'll solo for 4 bars. So when I'm walking, I want you to play 4 bars of solo ideas. And then when I'm soloing, I want you to play 4 bars of walking ideas. And again, I'll put the changes up. Normally I wouldn't do this. I would really encourage you to do it all by ear, but I haven't taught you all the way, like all of the changes explicitly. I encourage you to check it out beforehand, but some of you are still working on this tune. And again, we've done so much by ear that checking out the chart occasionally is, not a crime. So I'll put the changes up just for your reference. If you don't need them, don't look. If you need just a little peek, that's fine. I've got my trusty metronome set to 100. I'll play the last 8 bars. I'll set you up with the last 8 bars, and then I'll start walking at the top of the form. So that's going to be here, these last 8 bars, starting from A minor 7 flat 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to walk, and you're going to start soloing now. Now you're gonna walk. Now you solo. Solo. Let's trade twos now. So you're soloing, now I'm soloing. we'll stop here. So again, just something fun to do. I mean, I opened up a little bit, but honestly, I tried to keep it, at least a lot of what I was doing, simple and more horn-like, at least longer notes, and yeah, just really not feeling the need to have to play too much stuff. So it's fun to do this. It's fun to have a chance just to work on some of these ideas. And even though we are hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of miles apart, depending on where you are, we can still play together and still have some sense of interaction. So again, this is fun for me, and it's as much for me as it is for you. I love this part of it. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your phone out or take your recording device out, similar to what we did on the first day. So I'll give you a minute to just get it set up. Again, if you have an iPhone, you can use the voice memo app. Let me find mine here. Right? Voice memos. So you can use that, or if you have an Android, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Don't use Android products or software. If you have your recorder and some headphones, that's totally fine. But get it ready. I'll give you about another 30 seconds just to get the tech ready on your desk. And then I'll tell you more about what we're doing. Another 15 seconds. Should be happy I'm not telling any jokes to kill the time right now, because I got some really bad ones. You don't want to hear them though. No jokes. Sorry. Not today. Oh, by the way, for everybody, just make sure that your comments are set on panelists and attendees if you want everyone to see what you're writing, which hopefully you do. Oh, sorry, everybody. Time ran out. No more time for jokes, and we have to keep playing. Maybe next time. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the backing track again for you, the same one that you had on the first day. This backing track is courtesy of Jamie Aebersold. Again, I checked with the Aebersold company, and I do have permission to use this track. And they have a really great streaming service for all of their backing tracks. It's something like $5 a month, and you get access to their entire play-along library. I believe it's jazz streaming. I've got a link that I can send to everybody. But again, they make some really great quality play-alongs. Jamie Aebersold has been invested in the jazz education business since really its explosion in the 70s. They're a great company, so fully support them, which is why I'm not recording this backing track and sending it to you. Again, it's just for streaming purposes. But check it out. So what we'll do, or what I'll do, is I'll play it from the beginning. So you'll have one chorus to listen to the harmony. I'll put up the changes again, like I did on day one. We're making this an experiment, okay? Controlling as many of the variables as possible. So you're going to listen for one chorus, and then you're going to record your solo. So you're listening for one chorus, and then in the second chorus of the recording, that's when you play your solo, and that's what I want you to record. Okay? So here's the track.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
So you know this part's familiar, so I want you to record now. Okay, so you can stop your recordings. I know some of you weren't able to record on day one, so that's totally fine. I hope you still played on day one and today. What I want you to do if you recorded your solo is I actually just want you to listen back to the solo you played on day one and the solo you just played now. Now this may take about 3 minutes. If you didn't record your solo, what I want you to do is just to yourself, reflect on what you noticed about the solo on day one and day three. You know, how did it feel to play the solo today if you didn't record it? And if you did, what are the differences you notice? So again, just hold it to yourself, just take a moment to reflect. And then in about 3-4 minutes, I'll ask you to share your thoughts. But for now, it's just you time. So I'll give you 2 more minutes to listen and reflect. Another 60 seconds. 5-second countdown. You're seeing some answers pop in. So, if you had a chance to compare the two solos, what did you notice about the difference between them? And if you didn't have a chance to record them, how did it feel to play today versus on Monday? And I'm going to go through and read these. Completely different. Giovanni said completely different, more and more melodic. Martin, it makes more sense now. Peter, more grounded and more singable, quoted my solo. Oh, I'm touched. Thank you. More melodic, less busy, better touch on the instrument. And Peter said also less choppy. Stuart, clearer lines and better intonation. See? Working on the stuff by ear really does positively impact your intonation. It's not just about what we do on the instrument, but the core musicianship that we're working on away from the instrument too. Steve, wow, I'm a lot better when I play simply in the range, I know, and leave lots of space. Totally stoked. Right on, Steve. Herbert, more melodic and rhythmic, but slightly out of tune. Okay, well, you're going for it, so we appreciate that. Willard, it had more structure instead of some roundabout notes. It was really telling a story now. Yes. There's been such an amazing development, this is from Stefan, there's been such an amazing development in regard to the melodic quality. Dorothea, or Dorothea, depending on where you are. New ideas and rhythms, yeah. James, completely different, more like the bassist singing instead of plunking. Yeah. Chris, Monday I used the bass alone. Today I used, my voice and sang alone. More melodic and connected. Peter, more space, fewer notes, shorter phrases, more patient. A few good ideas too. Bill Clark, some great moments followed by lameness. Wish I could be more consistent. A little more consistent today. We're always striving for playing with more consistency. And the fact that you had great moments means that there are more great moments inside of you, right? It's just finding ways to bring those out. Tony was taking more chances today. Mark, felt like I used space a lot better and more relaxed. Yeah, one of the things to think about when we solo is that we always have more time than we think. And we always have a lot of space. And what happens with bass players, often, and this is also a product of how our rhythm section members comp for us, whether they're scared or they comp the way that we need them to. But I often find, at least, that when I am nervous or I don't really know a tune so well or I'm not totally comfortable, I play in a way that's more about figuring out the changes than it is about actually telling my story or really playing something melodic. And what happens is the more you play, the less space you have. And you kind of have to keep up with that trajectory. So for me, I find that if I remind myself I have lots of time and I take deep breaths and I play something that starts off more melodic, then I usually have more time to develop ideas and I invite more interaction. Now, this is not the only way to solo, of course. There are lots of great musicians who you'll hear who will play lots more notes. That's great. There's room for all of this. There's room for lots of different approaches. I just find for me that the more I dive into this direction, the more it makes sense to me and the more it helps me say what I need to say. Goran said, better, but not to my satisfaction. Well, as musicians, I think we can all agree we're never satisfied. We're always on the path towards finding what we want to say. Mike said, second solo was less busy. Garrett said, don't feel like quality of melody is different, but playing it felt like I was being led by my ear much more. Wow, this is huge for me. Yeah, congratulations. Rob put more of my vocabulary in. Okay, I like that. Kim sounded a little less amateurish. Rick, solo 2 feels more solid and melodic. Georg, cooler start, but then ... I'm assuming that ... means it was just freaking fantastic. Not to fill in the gaps. Bob, more space, more in tune. Charlie, coherent and more expression. Jim Lambie, more melodic, used a few Danny Z licks. All right. Clyde, my first solo sounded like me. My second solo sounded like someone else. Well, Clyde, depending on where you are in your journey, maybe that's something that you're looking for, is that you're looking to absorb other outside material. And if you're not, then you've got a path for you that works. Mary Jo, simpler but more melodic. Mark, more space and phrasings, fell back on sequencing strategy, sang out my thoughts such as they were. Ed, more melodic, so much more space, doesn't sound like a walking bass line. Darnell, the light bulb is starting to come on. Ronald, day one, fumbling around and then resorted to walking instead of soloing. Today, simple lines with simple rhythms. Right on. And we see, again, ladies and gentlemen, walking and soloing are far more connected than they are separate. Again, we use the same information, and the same information is available to us, whether we're walking or soloing. And in a lot of ways, if you slow down the great solos by Paul Chambers or Ray Brown, well, let's say more so Paul Chambers in this example, but really if you slow down a lot of the great solos, or a lot of the solos by great bass players, they have a lot of the same harmonic markers and the same ideas as when they walk bass lines. Again, the rhythms are different, but it's all coming from the same thing, right? It's all just coming from the same language and same vocabulary. Bruno, definitely more paced, phrasing-wise, more of a melodic narrative. Jeff, hearing more melodic phrase options. Brent, more melodic and a little more in tune. Me, someone named me, more fun and relaxed to solo. George, riskier. Denise, exploring new ideas. Steve, better on average. Stefan, wow, way more, better phrasing, more ideas, super melodic, longer notes and well-stated rests. Jumped across a fingerboard, way more confident, but still out of tune here and there. It's gonna happen, we're human, we're not machines. Zayden, played it more melodically than in the past. Amy, more melodic and interesting, less scalar, which sounds like I'm just walking. Derek asks, what about the old school walking bass solos, especially in up-tempo tunes? Yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely play walking solos. There's no rule that says we have to only play one particular way. So again, you'll hear lots of great walking solos from bass players all throughout history. The thing that we're doing is that we're diving into an approach that is led by our ear. I mean, everything we do should be led by our ear, but we're diving to an approach that really works our ear and is maybe less common in the way that we might typically learn music. Again, that's an assumption, but just based on what I've seen and what I've experienced. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to help you find your sound, right? These are tools that are to help you unlock the way that you hear so you can play the way that you want to. So lots of great answers, definitely more relaxed, breaking solos into 2 and 3 note cells and then questioning, answering my phrases. More correct now, more explorative before. Yeah, so again, everybody, this is all really, really exciting. So, this is an example of what's possible in 3 days. And I've been getting a lot of questions actually from people about wanting to study with me and wanting to work with me. So for those of you who are looking to experience more, well, I'm excited to announce a new program, a 10-week coaching program I'm starting called the First Call Bassist Solo Edition. Now, this program really expands deeply on the ideas presented in this 3-day workshop. And the idea is that we're really working to put your ear at the forefront of your melodic soloing capabilities. Now, I understand this program's not going to be for everybody, but let me tell you who it's for. So ideally, I'm looking for people who are interested in bridging the gap between their walking and soloing capabilities, people who are curious about soloing, who maybe have gotten into it or wanted to but weren't really sure what paths to take, people who may be frustrated by trying to learn theory and try to figure out how to piece it together but still not play things that they're happy with, or even people who are further along on their journey and just looking for some new ideas to really take things to the next level. So my ideal clients are resourceful. So I'll share something with you, you'll run with it, you'll make it your own, and you'll really find a way to incorporate it into your musicianship. They're open to coaching, so anything I share will be accepted with an open heart. And above all, they're invested in community, and they're really interested in making sure that the people around them are thriving. Because what I found as a teacher is that the more the community thrives, the more everybody thrives independently. It's really a beautiful thing. Now, I will say this is not a technique-based program. So if you're at the very beginning of your jazz bass journey, still getting the nuts and bolts together of where all the notes are and scales, then I would say this program is not for you. Really, again, what we're working on is our core musicianship and taking what we hear and applying it to the instrument. So with that said, if you are beginning your jazz journey or you're further along, this program will neither overwhelm nor underwhelm you. And even if you're a teacher, looking for some new tricks or some new ideas, some new pathways to be able to open up the way your students are hearing, then this would also be a good fit for you. I mean, again, what we're doing is we're diving deep into our ears and using those as a foundation for really playing melodic solos with a sense of freedom and authentic self-expression. So the details. The program, again, is 10 weeks long, starts March 22nd, it runs through June 1st. So you have plenty of time to get your bass beach body ready to go. And I've designed this program to really be a musical playground. So you have a lot of time to explore different ideas and really work with them and see how they fit into your musicianship. So we meet twice a week. The first meeting's on Mondays, and it's live streamed, and we have a topic of the week or topic every 2 weeks. And then on Thursday, I'm really excited about this, I have what I call my shed sessions. So what we'll do is we'll have a opportunity for some Q&A. So whatever you've been working on for the week, whatever's come up based on that earlier workshop, you'll have a chance to ask me directly more clarifying questions or to demonstrate things. And then we're going to have our shed sessions. So I'm going to create small group practice rooms where you're going to be able to practice with other people in the program and really figure out what it is that you're working on, how to strengthen it. You'll have a chance to interact with people who are working on similar things, similar transcriptions or tunes, or maybe similar places in their journey, or people who you just really get along with. But again, the idea is that it's not just about me giving you this information, but it's about you having the opportunity to interact with other people in the program and really help build that sense of community and that understanding that you're not just a lone traveler, but we're all fellow travelers in this journey. Now, there's a private Facebook group where I will be moderating daily. Many of you are already in another group or another Facebook group I'm running for this retreat and this experience. So I'm very active and I'm always trying to do whatever I can to provide extra support. There's a bass player's practice journal that comes along with this that I've designed. And the purpose of this is just to help you set really clear objective practice goals so you're right on the path. There's going to be a workshop about setting clear objective goals right at the beginning so you know how to make the most of your 10 weeks. And you're going to get access to all of my books. You'll have PDF access to everything that I publish. And again, just for extra support throughout our 10 weeks. And I'm also going to bring in guest artists from my network of musicians. And another thing I want to make very clear is I am recording everything. So if you're busy or you have work going on, many of my past program participants have worked full-time gigs, been business owners. They were still able to make everything happen. Again, everything is recorded, so you don't have to worry if you're not able to make everything live. Now, one thing I've been trying to incorporate into my program is participants who live in time zones that are not necessarily as convenient in terms of scheduling as the US and Europe, because I usually schedule things to accommodate the US and the EU. Well, again, Monday's session is webinar format like this, and I actually have created a second shed section on Thursdays run by my amazing assistant, Casey Lipka. She's a phenomenal bass player and a just wonderful human being, phenomenal coach. And she'll be overseeing the second section of the shed sessions. So anyone who lives in a time zone that doesn't line up with when we schedule things for the EU and the US, you'll still have a chance to work with the community. And if you can't make the Q&A, it's possible to submit questions every week. So again, I've really gone out of my way to make sure that wherever you are, you still get that sense of community. And really, the program is designed to give you the best tools to play solos that just really elevate your musical contribution and to really give you a deeper ear inside the music. Now, I know a lot of you know me through my books, through my video courses, through Discover Double Bass, my YouTube videos. I've met a number of you when I've been on tour, and some of you are even current or former students. And I can honestly say that there are not as many players who are also equally invested in teaching, or maybe more invested in teaching. And I've always felt, for me, it's important to help jazz players not be stuck in the mystery of why some get ahead and why some struggle or some develop fear. And this program is really a reflection of my career. It's a reflection of what I've learned from playing, a reflection of the hundreds of students I've taught, from total beginners to adult learners to conservatory students at the Eastman School of Music. And this is a reflection of all the research I've read, the research I've done on jazz teaching and improvisation, and the music education degrees I've received. So again, this is my laboratory. This is my music learning universe. And I know that we are all being bombarded with online educational opportunities left and right. And I've been teaching this way before coronavirus, and I will continue to teach this way after coronavirus, because for me, I really feel like it's the best way that I can offer support to my students. And actually, I just ran a 6-month program that had students from all over the world, and I honestly felt like it was a reflection of my best teaching. So this for me is way more than just one-on-one lessons. It allows me to really give you coaching and mentorship and leadership and build a community to allow you to thrive with daily accountability. Now, the investment for the program, well, there are actually 2 ways that you can go through it. So again, for all the options I listed so far, the weekly workshops, the Facebook group, and all of the other goodies, the investment is $997. And now there is also a limited sort of VIP option, if you will, and this is by application only. So this includes 2 private lessons. It includes a end of program performance with extra coaching from me beforehand. And it also includes a monthly mastermind small group special topic. So this part of the program, or this way of going through it, costs $1,997. And there are payment plans available, so you don't have to pay it all in one go. I'm very flexible with what I offer there. And again, I understand that this is not for everybody. If you're interested, I'm also offering a bonus. So if you sign up or register in the next 24 hours, either to join the program or to have a call with me to talk about the limited option, then I'm offering a mid-program progress review, small group. So halfway through, you'll be able to meet with me and get one-on-one feedback about what you're practicing, the notes you're taking in your practice journal, and really make sure that you're on the right path so you don't feel like you're going through it without really good one-on-one guidance. The other thing I want to say is that I'm offering a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you start it and you think it's not the right vibe, or you just don't feel like this is what you should be working on, then again, money back, no questions asked. So really there is no risk to go for it. Now, again, like I said, I've taught hundreds of bass players throughout my teaching career, and a lot of them have said, oh, I can't learn by ear. This is just not for me. And I promise you, you absolutely can do it. And if you had even just a little bit of a transformational experience in these 3 days, then that's proof. That's proof that you can absolutely do it. And I want to be very clear. Again, this wasn't always possible for me. I told you about my experience playing in Buffalo when I was younger, and band leader asked me if I wanted to solo on Black Orpheus, and I said no. And he looked at me in front of the crowd and said, "You're soloing," walked off the stage, and drank a beer in spite while watching me solo. And it was really frustrating and very embarrassing for me because I just was not prepared, because I always just thought I could wave them off because it's not my responsibility. And I worked my butt off to get past that and to really feel more comfortable and confident in what I was able to say. And to contrast that experience, 3 years ago when I was living in Switzerland, playing with a focused ear ensemble, Dave Holland was our artist in residence. We were playing all of his music. And on one of his tunes, he looked at me and said, "Danny, I want you to play a solo introduction on this." And so I'm there in front of one of the masters of playing solo bass. And what do you think I said? I said, "Of course, I would be happy to." And yeah, I was nervous. I was playing in front of Dave Holland, but it was great. And I felt confident and I learned a lot and he gave me great feedback. And it was just such a wonderful experience. And to look back and realize that I didn't always used to feel that way. It felt like a really good, triumphant accomplishment for me. So again, like I've said, this is an investment of time and energy. We know that progress is the accumulation of doing all the right things daily and showing up and being vulnerable. So I'm going to be very honest and very clear in saying that 10 weeks will not turn you into the next chop monster, okay? Instead, I want you to think about what a gift your ear will be to your musicianship after 10 weeks of really investing in it and figuring out the right tools to help you, again, unlock your melodic soloing capabilities. It's an investment in yourself. And maybe 0.01% of the population could become fluent in a second language in 10 weeks. But it's not about mastery in a short period of time. It's about what you sound like in 10 months and 10 years, and really making sure that you have the right foundational tools to be able to take things in the way that you want to go and to know that you're doing it for you the right way. And then you have the opportunity to explore these different tools. So obviously you're here because you're committed and you're curious and you're looking to make the most of your time so you can continue on your path you're on. And I fully support you. And for some of you, you may decide, you know what, I've been doing things a particular way, or maybe I've been teaching this a particular way for a long time. It's time that I invest and try something different. So again, if you're interested, I'll put a link to the program in the chat box, and I'll also send out an email later on. And there is that bonus offer. So in the next 24 hours, if you apply for a call or register, then you'll get the mid-program progress review. And again, there's a 14-day money-back guarantee. So I try to minimize the risk and increase the opportunity for you. So anyways, thank you. I'll look forward to seeing some of you in the program. And I would love to pivot back to playing a bit more bass. And then we're going to tie it up and I'm going to give you a chance to ask me questions about the content that we've covered so far in this workshop, because I know we haven't done too many Q&As. So again, thank you for listening. There's the link. All of the information is there. And again, everything totally recorded, so it's there for you. Now, I want you to grab your basses again. And what we're going to do, again, is just a little bit more playing, just to tie everything together. And I'll take you through a little routine that I do whenever I'm practicing soloing. I don't even want to say I'm practicing soloing. I'm more just doing it. So I'm going to set my metronome. Here we are. So the tempo du jour, or de week, I don't know the French for that, die Woche, has been 100. So what I like to do when I'm practicing, just in general, is I try to draw a straight line from what I'm doing when I'm playing in 2 and playing in 4 and soloing. Or if I'm playing a straight eighth tune, playing an accompaniment and playing in a solo. So I never just pick up the bass and just solo. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm coming from a point that's really grounded. So again, starting with accompanying and then making sure that I have some momentum and have that sound and that rhythm and that feel in my bones. And then I have the opportunity to play, again, with more of that freedom. So I encourage all of you to pick up your basses and just do the same thing with me. We're just going to play one chorus of 2, and I'll put up the changes for everybody so you can check it out again. One chorus of 2, one chorus of walking, and then one chorus of solo. And that's it. You can spend 20 minutes doing this. I used to spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes where I would just play in two and walk, and then play a solo, and then go back to the melody, and then play in two and walk, and so on. That's what works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but again, we're here to try things out. So here we go. One chorus of two, one chorus of four, one chorus of solo. 1, 2, 2, 3. Here we're gonna walk. Yeah, so things I wasn't happy with, just playing on my own. Things I liked. And the thing is, we're not practicing to try and play the perfect solo. It's like saying we're working on trying to speak the perfect sentence. We practice because we're trying to unlock what we're hearing. So that's honestly, I wish I could share like a really special routine in terms of, well, I do this and this and this, and then I try all these pieces. But for me, it's really as simple as just getting the momentum from accompanying and then just playing a few choruses. If we had more time, I would definitely blow maybe 5 or 6. Sometimes I play with backing tracks because it helps me, at least have the illusion of playing with people, and it makes me more aware of trying to connect with what I'm doing, or at least connect what I'm doing to the music. Again, the purpose is not to try and sound like me when you're soloing. It's just to try and sound like you, and to figure out what it is that you like and what it is that makes you who you are. So we've got some time left. You got about 10 minutes left. And like I said, I promised I would do some Q&A about everything we've covered. Contents of the workshops, about the solo that I played on day 1. I know some of you had questions. Solfege, maybe some details about the program. Really, I'm happy to answer what I can. And if I don't answer your question, please know it's not because I don't like you, or rather, it's not because I don't like you, whatever the positive one is. It's just because of time. Sometimes I don't want to give you an answer that's incomplete or sort of shrugs off something that has a deeper sort of response required. So I'll tell you, or there might just be something that I don't know. So again, any questions that you may have are welcomed. Do you keep following the chords, or are you guiding yourself only by ear? I mean, you don't look at the sheet anymore. I keep on reminding myself, now you're in B flat and now in G minor, and picking those notes in the chords. So you will, to me, whoever me is, hi me, it's kind of everything. I'm following the chords and I'm guiding myself by ear, but I'm not ignoring the chords, and I'm not just following my ear on a whim. Like everything we do, even when we're playing without the charts, is still very much organized and still very much guided by the harmony. So what I mean is when I'm playing by ear and following that, I'm following that in the context of what's happening with the changes. So I'm trying to create these new melodic ideas. And oftentimes things you play will just line up with the chord tones, the thirds and the sevenths. Sometimes it doesn't, but that's part of the process. And as you work on more tunes and you play more bass lines and you sit down at the piano and you sing, all these things contribute towards your mastery and your absorption of those chord changes. So you're thinking less and hearing more. Martin was asking, any plans with the Retreat Facebook group? That's a great question. So I am actually going to have a sort of lowdown groups for anyone who has my books. So I'll convert it into that, and I'll still do occasional workshops and still have some participation in that. Ricard, strategies for dominant chords. That is a deep question that requires a long response. So I will circle back to that if there's time at the end, Ricard. It's not out of lack of interest. It's just that it just requires a lot of explanation. Are you using solfege as part of transcribing by ear? Solfege, everybody, is like a filter. Your ear passes through your sort of solfege filter, and it just gives you more of a concrete understanding of what you're hearing. So the end result, I mean, for example, if you watch Alexa Tarantino, she can solfege anthropology and Parker solos and everything at speed without any issues. And there are other people who use solfege as a way to really refine their ear, and then they let it go, and then they come back to it as a tool. So for me, I work on solfege a lot, but when I'm hearing things, I just know what it is. It's like looking at my wall and knowing that it's blue. Like, you know it's blue before you have time to react to it. And it's like, for me, it's just I know what something is before I have a chance to react to it. And working on solfege really helps me identify what those things are. Denise, do you use the melody of the tune as a guide for soloing? Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, do you use the melody? Yeah, absolutely. The melody is always a great guide for soloing. We don't want to just be playing over chord changes. We're definitely playing based off of the melody. You know, there's a lot of material that we can use to inspire what we do when we solo. Rob, where do we direct questions for Discover Double Bass courses? So there's a Discover Double Bass study group. That's Discover Double Bass study group on Facebook. That's the place to direct any questions about the courses. Kim, do you still offer the 6-month program? If so, can you elaborate more on that? So Kim, I will be offering the 6-month program probably later this year. If you have any questions about that, please definitely send me an email, and I'm more than happy to chat with you about that. Stefan, would you recommend learning a solo by ear and then later check it against a given transcription? I'd like to skip the writing part for now, but would like to check and reflect the notes. Yeah, I mean, this is something I talk about in the Topics soloing book, but after you finish a transcription, you learn it by ear and then you write it down. I mean, get next to someone that has good ears and have them check it. Or get a lesson with someone, or just find a way to double check your work and then figure out what it was that you weren't hearing the same. And then see if you can create exercises based on some of those differences, or find ways to create new catchphrases that really go towards supporting that maybe idea that you're not hearing. So yeah, it's absolutely okay to double check the work, because then you'll know exactly what it is that you need to work on. Amy, can you talk about the shape of a solo? Do you consciously end with a period to your conversation, focus on dynamics? So yes, one thing that I'm always trying to be more aware of is how I end my phrases. Because I used to be far more concerned with how they started and the sort of articulation that I used. And I became less concerned about how the phrases ended and the shape of the tone at the end of those phrases. And so I really made an effort to listen to a lot more. Chet Baker, I think, is a master of ending phrases well and playing with a really beautiful sound at the end of notes. Wynton Marsalis, Stan Getz, Jim Hall, Peter Bernstein, and in terms of bass influences, one of my favorites, Larry Grenadier. So that's always evolving for me, how I end the phrases. And of course, it also depends on who I'm playing with and the dynamic of the group and so on. Although I've noticed that the louder I play, the louder the group gets. And so when I'm thinking about phrasing, I'm not thinking about playing loud, I'm thinking about playing consistently. And then in terms of my actual phrasing, I just try to make it clear. One thing I used to do was I used to leave a lot of gaps that weren't clear or inviting to my bandmates in the way that I wanted to. I thought I was signaling that I was leaving space for them. And it was confusing because I wasn't being clear. So I had to figure out a way to really put periods at the end of my sentences, which again is dependent on just being aware of that, listening back after recording myself, checking out other musicians who exemplify that way of playing, and then just playing more and diving into it and seeing if I can really put that at the forefront of my mind as I'm practicing some of these details. Do you use a relative major as the root for solfege only? Okay, hold on. Do you use a relative major as the root for solfege only when the tune moves between the major and relative minor? Or do you always use it on all minor tunes? So Dave, that's a great question. If you're in the Facebook group, I think it was it Georg Rosenbauer? Sorry if I'm still working on my German. He asked about changing keys between solfege, or changing keys with solfege. And my rule of thumb is if the tune just moves between major and minor primarily, like Love Me or Leave Me, it's kind of consistently there, or Softly as in a Morning Sunrise, or Lullaby of Birdland, or Blue Skies. It's really a matter of where do you hear home being? Do you hear it in the minor key or the major key? For Autumn Leaves, I make B flat major do, and I make the minor la, because for me it's easy to go between do, mi, do, la, versus do, sol, do, and so on. There's just more chromatic syllables. So to go between relative major and minor, where the major is do, makes it a bit easier on our brains. But again, if you're in the group, I would encourage you to check out that post because I go pretty deep into when I change keys with solfege. Chris asks, maybe this is a newbie question, but where does the joke come from that people start talking during the bass solo? Oh boy, I might get some heat for this, ladies and gentlemen, but we're here because we want to improve our soloing capabilities. I think bass players in some ways bring it upon ourselves because we say that we don't need to solo, and then when we do, people always talk at it because it's not very exciting. I don't know. That's my take on it. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Brent was asking, any thoughts about the best way to remember tunes? Unless I play tunes outside the practice room, they don't always stay with me. Learn as many tunes as you can. One tune feels like a mountain to climb, but after you learn 20, it's a lot easier to remember. After you learn 100, it's even easier to remember. And after you know 500 or 1,000, learning a tune is like that. And you realize that there's a lot of common patterns between tunes. For example, tunes that go between the relative major and minor, I just listed a bunch. Tunes that go from the 1 chord to the major 3 chord, or that move thirds in thirds. I'm Old Fashioned, I Love You, Tangerine, How About You, Have You Met Miss Jones? What the heck is that tune? Bum ba bo da be bo da ba ba da do dee da ba be ba bo da. I can't remember it. Long Ago and Far Away. That's what it is. So you'll find that there are a lot of common movements between tunes. And if you learn tunes in groupings, then it becomes far easier to remember them because you're really drawing upon the same kinds of information. So other than that, singing like I was doing, ba, be, ba, bo, da, accompanying myself, playing at the piano, writing out lots of bass lines, learning melodies, working on soloing, and then learning lots of tunes. Again, those all go towards contributing, or those all contribute towards learning more tunes and remembering them. So this is a question from Peter. This is direct to me, but will there be a focus on harmonically stepping into a more outside concept, for lack of a better word, like Grenadier's walking solo on Just in Time? Found it hard to get my mind around his note choices. Realize this is a deep pursuit. Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that we can dive into. I mean, more likely for the special topics. That's or the mastermind call. The monthly mastermind call is part of the limited option program. That's likely where we're going to dive into these things because, again, I want to keep the emphasis on doing these things by ear, and some of those are a bit more theory intensive. But yeah, there's absolutely room to talk about some of those things. And the thing is, you learn what something is out, or when something is out, when you learn what playing in is. And so the more comfort you have over those basic details, then going out feels like less of a stretch because you're relating everything back to that comfortable home key. Tony, when you work on hearing upper extensions of chords, do you think like melodic minor scale? No, so this is something I worked on with my current program participants. When I hear things, like I just know what it is. Like when I hear a G13 with a flat 9, I just know it's a G13 flat 9, and my brain lights up with the choices that I can play, or my ear lights up. When I hear a G altered, my ear lights up with those choices as well. So it's less about thinking about it. And when I hear upper structures, the thing is, any chromatic harmony in a jazz context will likely happen. Lots of chromatic harmony happens over dominant chords, and you always have to think about where a chord is going to. So, if I play ba 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 bum, it could be major or minor that I'm in, but if I'm hearing like a C altered, well, again, it's all dependent on, am I going from ba 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 ba, then I'm thinking more about the destination of where it's going to. So I always encourage hearing extensions in the context of actually playing them in tunes. Singing the guide tones, ba da da, ba da da, ba da da. You know, all of those leading tones, because again, chromatic harmony is just it's just made up of different leading tones, even the chromatic notes. So that's what I'm trying to work on. I know that that's a short answer for a great deep question. So Herbert, what's the best way to use low down 2? It's a good home defense system in case someone tries to break in. There's a lot of bass lines in there. You can use it for sight reading. You can use it for solfege practice or sight singing, especially the chord tone lines. Oh my gosh, I sing chord tone bass lines all the time. So you can hold it up and ba 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 be ba 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 be ba 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 be ba 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 be ba 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 bum 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 be bum 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 bum. Stuff like that, where you know it's just chord tones. So you can really sing and make the connection to what you're hearing. Again, great way to work on your ear. Or just to get through some uncomfortable keys, or just to write your own bass lines. I had some students who challenged me and said, I want to write as many bass lines as you did in the low down 2. So I would absolutely encourage that way of looking at it. Thank you for everyone who said long ago and far away. Sorry I had to serenade you for that long in order to figure it out. So Adrian said, do you think becoming more adept at thumb position helps to hear more melodically, as in to play more treble-like solo? I mean, it can. The thing is, on the bass, the range is far more, I mean, the difference between this is far more dramatic than the similar range on the piano. So I definitely, I mean, listen, I think when it comes down to accompanying, we play the bass and we need to be comfortable with this register, but there's nothing that's off topic, or off limits rather, about thumb position when we're soloing. You know, we believed for 100 years that we need to learn bass and these positions and then slowly crawl up to thumb position. And then like Roboth and George Vance came along, and there are other pedagogues who I'm leaving out, and said, no, let's just like start right up in there. And we don't have to build this fear by avoidance. And that's exactly what I think about in terms of playing in thumb position. Like, it's not off limits. It's not a rite of passage, just like soloing. Like, we have the instrument available to us. So absolutely spend some time getting into it. Yeah. Ron was saying, for bass players, we may know the chords to tunes, but not the melody compared to singers. Yeah, it's good for us we need to know all of the tune, the chord changes, the melody, everything. It absolutely helps us on our journey. One thing I found actually in my time teaching is that I'm surprised with how many melodies a lot of bass players know. It's more so the ability to hear inside the chord changes that I've found often needs more addressing, like really hearing the chord changes, listening to a recording and know what the harmony is. With that said, everyone's path is different. Everyone's journey is different. They all need to work on different things. So, yeah. But yeah, melody is very, very, very important. So Ren said, I'm not yet ready for your 10-week program. Do you plan to do more of them in the future? And if so, how can we stay aware? Well, if you're on my mailing list, you'll find out because I'll be sending notices. So yeah, just if you unsubscribe, you won't hear about them. And if you stay on the list, then you'll be in the loop about those things. I will be doing the 6-month program at some point in the future. But for now, the 10-week program is the one that's definitely happening, the one that is designed and ready to go. When someone asked about when they meet, and someone asked earlier, this upcoming program will meet, at least for the Monday workshop and the first section, it meets 12 to 1:30 p.m. East Coast time, so that people in Europe and people on the West Coast can also participate. And again, everything's recorded. You can ask anyone who studies with me now. The videos are usually up within 30 minutes of our workshop being done. So there's always access to it. So lots of great questions, lots of great conversation. So what I'll say, everybody, is thank you. I mean, this was an amazing, amazing 10-day experience. It wouldn't have been possible without all of you showing up and being here and being enthusiastic about this topic, learning from lots of the greats, spending the time in the workshop with me. So I am so thankful and grateful to spend this time with you. I appreciate all your great questions, your great contributions, really developing a sense of community with everybody. This is like one of the most joyous things for me as an educator, is to be able to share the road with you and be a fellow traveler. So I hope that, even a morsel of what we talked about finds its way into your playing. Again, I'll look forward to seeing some of you starting March 22nd, but just again, this was a wonderful experience. And again, I'm thankful to all of you. Stefan, gigantic applause. Thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, look out for more emails if you're looking for more information. This video will go up tonight. The replays for the interviews will be up for probably 1 to 2 more weeks. In case you haven't been able to check out everything, then I'll be taking them down. That was the agreement with the interviewees. So yeah, now's your time to dive in and get caught up on everything. I'm here if you have any questions. There's a Facebook group if you have any further questions. Always feel free to consider me a source of information and someone who is there to can help you on your journey. So thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, night, morning, depending on which part of the country you're in. And again, I'll look forward to talking to some of you soon. Ciao. Bye-bye.